Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're just going to focus on how to create piles and pile caps, and then from that how to run Dynamo scripts. If you have a look here, we run our pile numbering, it updates in our table and schedule and also on our layout. And then if we run our pile coordinates, you can see all our coordinates are updated in our table. So if you guys want to learn how to do this, please stay tuned. So let's start, guys. So we're just going to open a new project, go to new and then structural template and just say okay. Now what we want to do is we want to bring in a pile family into this project. So if you go to structure and you go here to isolated foundation and you go here to the drop down, you'll see there's only rectangular footings at the moment. So you'll go here and click on edit type, and then we will go to load, and then you will go and load this pile cap family. So these are all the preset Revit templates or families that you get when you actually download Revit. So just want to show you, once you go into the English area or whatever language you might be, you can go to your country and select the structural foundations, but I'm going to go into the US one because I see in the South African file there is no structural foundation. So I'll just go to US and then scroll down, find structural foundation, open it, and then we'll select this pile cap which has one pile, and then we say open, and then we say okay, and we just place it. So if we go and view this in 3D, this is how it will look like. So now we want to go and edit this family, and the reason for that is if you go here to edit type, I just move this to the left, you'll see here that currently the way this has been set up is that you have a pile that has a certain size. Now if I wanted that 600 millimeter diameter pile, which is that there, to change to a different size, there's no other size that you can change it to. The only way to be able to change it to another size is you have to go and edit this family and then load this specific steel pipe family into this family here, and that is just abortive work. So we want to set up a new pile that is related to the pile cap, and that can be changed at any time once it's loaded into this project. So you'll see here, if I take an example, if I had to go and change my pile cap and I say okay, let's change it to maybe a 500 by 500 wide and the width and the length, and I say apply, it's going to look like this. Now obviously I want the pile diameter to respect the pile cap, so at the moment this is not happening. So let's just change that back to a meter and a meter, and then we're going to go and edit this family. So just press OK here, we click on this pile cap again, we go here and say edit family. Now that we are in the family, we can now start editing these certain pile parameters that we want to associate to one another. So how we are going to do that is as follows. We are going to delete this pile diameter that has been brought in from another family. So if you go here on the drop down by families and you go structural foundations, here you can see there's the steel pipe that has been brought in. So if I right click on this, I can just say delete, and it's just going to give me a warning, but just say okay, and now we have deleted that pile. So we want to go now into our floor plan. Here we can see that the specific parameters have been set up here. So if I go here to family types, this is what has been set up or preset by Revit. Then you can see the steel pipe has now fallen away because we have deleted it. Okay, so now we want to create our own pile. So if I click on this, you can see that this is an extrusion. If you go here, you say edit type. This is a extrusion that has been created you can give it a width and a length and also a depth. Here you can see your extrusion start is -900, which means it is 900 millimeters deep. Okay, so we want to do the same type of thing for the pile. So we're going to set up an extrusion for the pile. So how we do that is we go here to create, and then we click on extrusion, and then we go here to the circle because we want a pile which is circular. Then the end extrusion we're going to make 0 here on the right, and the start we're going to make -6,000, which is 6 meters. So I'm just going to click here, and for the moment let's just make it 400 mils wide. Okay, now that we've done that, we can say finish, and we can go and view in 3D how this looks. So currently the pile starts at 0, which is the top of the foundation or pile, and then it goes down 6 meters. So let's go and view this in our elevation. If we go to the back view, you can see that there is our pile that we have created. So what we want to do now is we want to move this pile to the top of that cutoff level. So we're going to say AL on our keyboard, and then I'm going to click on this line here, and I will then make sure I find the extrusion of the actual pile and click it so it goes down here, and then I'll just lock it. The reason for locking it is if I take this and I move it, apologies, if I take this and I make that dimension maybe 500, it will snap with this 500 mils or this dimension that you've set up. So take note of that. And then if you didn't get what I did here at the top, if I said by saying align, so I say AL on the keyboard, I click this line, then when I hover here, you can see it selects the top of the pile cap. So to select the top of the pile, I just press tab on my keyboard to shift between the selections, and I click it, and then I lock it. Okay, that's just to show you guys. Okay, so now we have done that. So currently we can now go and measure our pile, which is 5.25 meters. So you can make this any dimension you want. Let's say for this exercise we make this 6 meters deep. So I'm just gonna click on this and say copy CO on my keyboard and make it 6 meters like that, and then press AL on my keyboard, and I just align that again, and there you have 6 meters. Okay, now we've done that. If we go back to our reference level, the pile is still here in the layout. So I want to click on this pile and then give it a parameter. So I'm going to say edit extrusion, and then I want to dimension this. So I'm going to dimension it, DI on my keyboard, use the radial dimension, and I'm going to click, and then you can see it gives me a dimension of 400, which is the radius. Okay, so now I want to give this a parameter. So if I click on this, I can go here and say create parameter, and I'll call this radius, and we just keep everything as is here, and I'll say okay, now we have given it a radius. Then I'm going to just say finish here. So if I go here to family types now, just zoom out a bit and then go there. Now we can see that the radius we've just created, the parameter, has now been added to this family types within the dimensions tab, like we set it up. So if I go now and change that to 250 mils and I say apply, you can see here it will update the pile radius. So we are moving in the direction that we want. So what we can do now is add some more parameters for the pile. We just focus on the pile first, and then we will focus on the pile cap. So let's just say okay. Then we just go into our elevation view, and we're going to associate a parameter to the 6 meters. We're going to call it pile depth. So you click on the dimension, click here, create parameter, and call it pile depth. And we say okay. So what that means is if we go and change the cutoff level, so I usually use this or make this 75 mils, 75, and I say enter, you will see that the pile depth will always stay 6 meters unless you go and change it. But I just use it as a standard when I bring it into my project. So that is the reason for giving this a parameter. So now we have the cutoff, we have the pile depth, and we have our pile radius. You can, if you want, if you go to family types, just move this around. So where's this pile depth that we've just added? So we can maybe move this width up to there and the length to there. So we know the first 3 is the pile cap, and the rest of it will be part of the pile as well as the cutoff. So now what you can also do is if you want to add the, let's call it the diameter, you can. So we just do a formula for that. So we go new parameter, because some people like working with the diameter instead of with the radius, but either or. So what we're going to do is we're going to just make a diameter parameter. So we're going to keep that on common, length and dimensions. And we say, okay, now that diameter has been added, so we just move it down again like that. Now you can do a formula that the diameter and the radius are always, it's respecting one another. So what you want to do is go and say radius. Make sure you type the exact same word here with the capital letters, otherwise it won't read that as a formula. And you say times 2 and apply, and there it's 500 now. So if we just go to our reference level again, and let me just dimension this. There's at 500 diameter. So if we go now and say family types, and I change that to maybe 600, enter, you can see automatically the radius respects that. Say apply, and there you go. Same with if I had to change the radius to maybe, let's say 350, the diameter updates, and you can say apply, and there you go. Okay, so now we have set up the pile. The other thing we can do before we go to the pile cap is this structural material. We can go in here and we can change the structural material to anything we'd like. Obviously it needs to be concrete, so I'm just going to keep it on this concrete cast in place gray. But what I want to show you is if I go and say okay here, and we go to our 3D view, and I click on this specific pile, you'll see here on the material it just says by category, but we want to go and click here to associate the family parameter, and we want to associate that structural material and say okay. So that now you can see it also changed. Let me just put that on fine and that maybe too realistic, so you can see it's also concrete now. So that whatever you change this structural material to, let's just go family types. If I had to go and change this, let's just go and do that. If I had to go and change this to something else, let's do maybe earth. I don't, it's a bit unrealistic, but let me show you. Okay, and apply. It automatically changes everything. So that is why you associated that family parameter. So I'm just gonna Control Z on my keyboard. Now we can go and focus on the pile cap. So family types once again. I know I might be jumping around quite a lot, or it might seem like that, but you can just slow down the video or just rewatch it. So we want to associate this pile cap with the pile diameter. So we usually, or I usually say whatever the pile diameter is, I would plus 75 millimeters on both sides, and that will give you my pile cap size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say new parameter, and I'm going to call it my offset value, and say okay. and I'm going to give this offset value a number, which is the 75 mils. Let's just move that up, call it 75 mils. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do formulas for the width and the length. So if I go here to width, I want the diameter, so you can copy that if you want instead of typing it. I want this diameter plus the offset value. So offset value, let's just give that a bracket, times 2, because you want to plus it on both sides, and say apply. Now you can see automatically it is being grayed out because this formula gives it the actual size. And we're going to do the same with the length. So if I go here, copy, paste, apply. So it's going to be a square pile cap. So obviously if you don't want to do a square pile cap, you don't have to do this formula, but this is how I'm going to set up my pile. Then your foundation thickness, we are just going to keep that as is. You can change it to any thickness you require. So now I can show you how cool this is. If I go and change the pile diameter to, let's say, a meter, and I just click enter, you can see the width and the length updated, the radius obviously updated. And if I say apply, the pile cap respects the pile diameter every time by the offset value of 75. If you have an offset value that you want to choose, maybe, or do 100 mils, say enter, you can see the width and the length updates. I say apply, and there our pile cap increases. So just going to do 75 again and apply. So now we've set up, go to our 3D, we've set up our pile and pile cap so that they then talk to one another. So let's just go and click on the pile cap, and the material here has already been associated with the family parameter, so just a double check. So now we have set up everything, and what I want to do now is I want to create some shared parameters. Now the reason for the shared parameters are actually for scheduling purposes. So firstly, we're going to go here to manage, and we're going to click shared parameter. Then you'll see this is all the parameters I've set up myself already. So we are going to just create a new one, and I will show you how to set up all of this. So I'm going to first explain this, and then we're going to set up our own. So you can obviously make anything or make a parameter that you require. So I have a column size. You're going to obviously type this in by hand, and pile cap size, the same thing. And then the working load is also typed in by hand. And then we have a X, Y, and a Z coordinate that we are going to use within our project. And I will show you with Dynamo how you can then run Dynamo, and it will give you the exact coordinates of the piles in your project. So what we want to do is we want to create a new shared parameter file. So like I said, I already have this set up, but I'm going to show you how to do this. So I'm going to say create. Then I'm going to just go and save it under, well, I need to save it under my YouTube stuff. So there's pile caps, and I'm just going to click here and say I want to save it as pile caps. I'm just going to replace this, say yes, and now you can see there's nothing. Now we're going to create our new group. So we can say group, and we want to group this into our pile caps / Dynamo group. And okay, now we're going to start creating our parameters. So new, then like I said, I'm going to put a column size here. You don't have to if you don't want to. It's just, I'm just going to show you why I do this later on. Then we can keep it on common, and we will then say text, and okay. Let's go to our next one. We do pile cap size and also text, and say okay. New parameter, we will say working load, and then we will say text and okay. Then we will do our x coordinate. Sure, my spelling is not good today. Coordinate, that's correct. Common and length. I'm just going to copy that so it's easier to set up the next one. New parameter, do the y coordinate. Just want to make it a capital letter, y. Okay, and then another one, z coordinate, and okay. And then we will say okay. Not going to save it now. Then once we've created that, we want to go back here to, if we go to modify, we go here to family types again. We want to now set up what we have created. Okay, so we go and set up a parameter, but instead of having it as a family parameter, we do shared parameter, and you say select. Now here you can see all the shared parameters we have created. So now I'm going to do the column size. Okay, obviously we want to group it under the text. There it goes, column size. Then we go again, new parameter. We will go shade parameter, select, pile cap size. Okay, put it under the text. That's fine. And then our last one, we're not going to do the coordinates in here. Coordinates will be within your project. Shade parameter, select, and we do working load, and we can put that maybe under our structural tab and say okay. So now you can see that let's put it there on the structure tab. The pile type name or the family type name, we want to change that to the pile diameter. So the reason for that is that's just how I do it firstly, and secondly it's to do with when we run our Dynamo script. So the Dynamo piling number system has been set up so it respects the diameter, the word diameter basically, or DIA. Because the reason for that is if you set up the Dynamo and you say let's respect a certain size, it's going to be difficult to give the pile numbers to a specific size, because you're going to have more than, you know, let's say 6 or 7 different types of pile cap sizes maybe. So the diameter then just distinguish a pile and slash pile cap from a normal footing. So we're going to rename this and call it 1000 millimeters diameter and say okay. And then for the column size, the pile cap size, and the working loads, we're going to change that within our project, and I can then show you how we go about that. So for the moment, say apply, okay. Before we load this into the project, let's just save it. Save as the family. I'm going to just save it as this here. Save, and I'm just going to overwrite. Let's load our pile into the project now. Just go load into project, and you can say overwrite. And if I click here, go to the drop down menu, you're going to notice we have this pile that we've pulled in from our Revit templates, and then this one here is the one we've created. So let's just select the one we've created. Then we want to go and delete the other one so we don't get confused. So go to families here on the left, just scroll down, look for structural foundations, click the drop down there, look for the M-pile cap and look for that one, right click and delete. Now we only have this one type here. There you go. Now we want to go and, well, I want to go and show you how cool this is. If we go to our level 2 and we go click on this, say edit type, we can go and edit all these parameters we've created. So we can just double check if everything works. So let's change the diameter to 250, enter, everything updates here, say apply, there you go, very small pile. I go to my 3D view, looks very odd. You can say edit type here, we can go and play around again and say pile depth, we make a meter, foundation depth of the pile cap 250, and we can say apply, and you can see how cool it updates. So I'm just gonna undo this, so we have our pile which we've brought in the correct size. There we go. From here we can now go and add the X, Y and Z coordinate within our project parameters. So you will go here to the manage tab at the top, and we're going to add these parameters from the shared parameters we have created. So if I click on the pile, you'll notice here under dimensions we want to go and place these coordinate X, Y and Z parameters. So how we're going to do that, once again go to manage, project parameters, I want to save now, we will go new parameter, here under shared parameters we go to select and we say X coordinate and we say okay. It's very similar to what we did earlier in the family, except here we're going to just say we want this to go under our structural foundation properties, and we say okay, and we repeat that for the Y and the Z coordinate. So there's the Y, go again structural foundations, okay, and then new shared parameter, select Z coordinate and structural foundations, and okay, and okay again. Now once we click on this, you will see that the X, Y and the Z coordinate has now shown up or has been added to our dimensions within our properties for our structural foundations. So you'll notice there's nothing in here at the moment in terms of coordinates, and the reason for that is we still need to run the Dynamo script to be able to show or allocate the coordinates to the specific pile. So let's go to level 2, and we are going to create different types of piles and pile diameters, and then we can do our Dynamo scripts and then put that into a schedule. Okay, so let's just quickly do a grid system. So we go to grid, and then we're going to draw our grid system. That should be 1. There we go. And we go 5 meters and another 5, and then in the other direction we do the same. We go 5 and 5 again, and now we can say click on that, create similar, CS on your keyboard, say add grids, and I'm going to highlight all the grids and say finish. Now I've quickly placed all of them. I'm just going to delete that one. Now we're going to do the first row, we're going to do a different type. So edit type, I'm going to say duplicate, we are going to have them as 500 diameters, enter, make it 500. Pile or the pile caps are now 650 and 650. We can maybe make the foundation the same depth, 650, and then we're going to add some column sizes. For the moment we don't have any, so just say varies, and then pile cap size, we can now go and say it's a 650 by 650 by 650 millimeter. And then the working load, let's say for an example it's going to be 1500 kilonewtons, and there we go, and apply and okay. There we have set up those 3. Let's do the next 3, edit, duplicate, let's make this 700, enter, we change the diameter to 700, and then column size, drop down menu, you see it's once you have allocated or given the column size a name in one of the others, it will automatically pop up. Same with the pile cap size, but we don't want 650 by 650, we're gonna change that to the 850 because that's the new size, 850. Just change your depth there or thickness to 850. Then working load, you can either use that 1500 or for this example just change it to 2000. Say apply and OK, and there we have 1, 2, 3 different types of piles. This one we are just going to go and add these values. So pile cap size, it's going to be 115, 115 and 115. That one should be enter, and then this 1150 enter. Working load, we already have 2, let's make a third one, 2500. Apply. So the reason for all these call it additional parameters we've set up is because we're going to be able to allocate them in our schedule. So let's say OK, and then what we are going to do, we're going to create a schedule now. So click on schedules, right click, new schedules and quantities. We're going to look here or search for foundations. There we go. Going to say OK, and then we're going to start adding the fields that we want. So the first one is going to be the mark. That is going to be your pile number that we are going to do with Dynamo. And then we're going to add our X coordinate, our Y coordinate, and then we want to add the working load. So you'll notice all these parameters that we've set up, the shared parameters, are now displaying in this fields here. If you don't set this up, you won't be able to see these coordinates and working loads within this schedule. So keep note of that. Then our pile diameter, and the next one would be our pile cap size, and then our Z coordinate, and I think that's okay for now. There we've created our schedule. So now we can see we have our mark. So you can actually rename this if you don't want this exact wording. You can say here maybe pile number, and then X coordinate, Y coordinate we keep as is, and here we have our working load. Then here we might want to change this to pile diameter. However, I see that the pile diameter did not pull through into this area, and I think I know what the problem is, and I'm glad this happened so I can show you guys how to fix it and how shared parameters actually work to get a better understanding. So here we have our piles, and we've got edit type. That diameter here, that should not be a family parameter but rather a shared parameter. So we're going to go and change that within the family. So don't worry, it's not a big thing to fix. It's actually a very quick fix. Once you change it in your family and you bring it back in here into your project, it updates all of these piles. So let's go edit family. Then we go here to family types. We need to set up a diameter shared parameter for this. If I go in here and I say edit, you can see it's not under shared parameter. So if I go here and say select, we need to set up a shared parameter for the diameter to allocate it to this specific parameter. Okay, so let's just go cancel. So we once again go manage, shared parameters, new. We call this pile diameter just to distinguish. Pile diameter, keep common and length, that's okay, and okay. Then we go back to the create option, family types. We go to this diameter here, we say edit, shared parameter, select, and we say pile diameter, and okay, and okay. And you can see it's just moved it up slightly, so let's just bring it down to there where it was. There we have it. We can say apply and okay, and then we can load it into our project. You can obviously just save this, just gonna overwrite it and then load into my project, overwrite, And then if we go to our schedules, we will have to update this again. So we go here to edit, go to our fields, that diameter there, we put it back, and we search for pile diameter, that one there, bring it in, just move it up to where we had it previously, just check, yeah, after the working load, and say okay. And there you go, there we've added in our pile diameter. So if you want to display millimeters behind this, or whatever units you use, you can just go edit here again. We go to our formatting, pile diameter, and then we go to not conditional, field formatting, untick this, go to your drop down and say millimeters. Obviously, if you change this to meters or whatever you want, it will automatically update here. So I'm just going to use millimeters, 0 decimal places, okay, and okay again. And there you have your pile diameter. Then the Z coordinate would actually be called your pile cut off level. Okay, so now we've done everything we can. Let's just go and have a look. I would like to center all of this. Ooh, I see I have a spelling mistake there. Apologies, number. I want to center all of this. Let's just make that a bit bigger. So I go edit, formatting again, and I'm going to click on the first one, hold down shift on my keyboard, click the last Z coordinate, and then just go center. You'll notice, just notice, the Z coordinate still says Z coordinate. That's just how it works in the fields. But your heading, that's the heading. So here you can change the heading if you don't want to change it in there. So just keep note of that. And then we say, okay, now it's nicely centered for the table. And now we can go and run our pile number system or number dynamo, and also our X coordinate, Y coordinate, and obviously this is our Z coordinate. So if we go to our 3D view, or rather let's keep it in the foundation here, then we go to I think it's manage. Yes, we go to our Dynamo player. Then here's our pile numbering, so I'm just going to run that. There are pile numbers pop up, just going to go back. There's our pile coordinates, going to run that one, and there's all our coordinates in our table with our cutoff level. So now we can go and have a look at all this information. There will be a link in the description below that will take you to Gumroad, where you can then download these scripts. So it will download as a zip file. You can just right click on it, say extract all, and extract. Then it will give you this folder that it has been extracted into. You'll open this folder. You can then go here at the top, click there, right click and say copy the path, or you can just remember where you saved it. Then you'll go back into your Revit, you'll open your Dynamo player, you'll go here and say add folder, and then on this plus button, add folder again, and then you will click here and say right click and paste, and it'll take you to your path, or you can just remember where you've saved it and follow that path. But you'll see there isn't anything indicated in here, but that's okay. It is in here, the two Dynamo scripts. You'll say select folder and you'll say okay. And then here where it says choose folder, just go to Dynamo scripts, and here you'll find your two scripts that you can run as per the video. I do hope you guys are still enjoying the video. So let's go to level 2. So you can see if I click on this pile, so how this works is it numbers from the top left to the bottom right. So there's pile 1, P1, there's your mark. This will be P2, P3, and that would be P4. So if I tag this, let's just see if I tag this. Okay, the tag has not been set up correctly. So you go annotate. Where is that? Annotate. Tag by category. And then if I click on this one on the pile, it's going to give me the type name. So if you go here, edit type, it's allocated to the type name. That's why it says 500mm diameter. So I want to make my own one. You can see there's only one. So we go edit family, file, save as family, and let's go and just save it where you need to save it. I'm just going to save it under the YouTube stuff, and I'm going to call this mark tag, because that's basically what we want to do. Save. Okay, we click on this. You'll notice that you can edit this label. So this is the parameter currently, the type name, which I explained earlier. We're going to take it out. We're going to put in the mark. Say OK. Doesn't look like much has happened. But if we load it into our project, make sure you load it into your project. OK. Just escape, click on it. There's the mark tag. There you have your file 1. So now we can go and tag all of them. The easiest way to do this is go to, let's just delete that one. Go to annotate, tag all. Then you go to structural foundations. Make sure the mark tag is selected. You can choose if you want a leader or not. I'm just going to not have a leader. Say apply and OK. And there's all your file mark numbers. You'll notice it's on the center of the pile. It might look a bit odd. So go back to your family editor. You're going to press VV on your keyboard for your visibility graphics. Go to the annotate category. Just switch those two on. Apply. Now you can see currently this description is in the center of the pile. So I'm going to move it to somewhere maybe there to sit just to the right of my pile. Then I'm going to reload this into my project. Overwrite. And there it is. Okay, it's a bit far now, but you understand what I'm getting to. Move it a bit. You can move it a bit in like that. Maybe like that. Just load it again. There. Okay, so there you go. Then you'll notice also if you click on the pile, there's the X, Y, and the Z coordinate that's being displayed within your structural foundation schedule. So if you move this, let me just show you. Let's say I move this down like that. You'll notice that the X, Y, and the Z coordinate did not update. The reason for that is you need to run the script again, the Dynamo script. So let's just go to manage again, Dynamo player. Let's just run the pile coordinates again. Before we do it, let's just see that was -7 to, well, let's just not put it on the grid, put it like that so that the X and the Y update, the X and the Y. So let's say run the pile coordinates, keep an eye on it, and there you can see it's updated. And if you go to your schedule, obviously it will automatically update in your schedule. Then the pile cutoff level, if we just go to our level 2 and we just draw ourselves a section, there's the section, just going to draw a section like that. We can go and view the section, just say go to view, and then we can now see that the top of the pile cap is 3 meters and the top of the pile cutoff level should actually be 2425. So if we go to our schedule, we'll notice it's at 3, which is not correct. So I do know what the problem is and I can show you how to quickly fix that. So before I do that, we're going to just run the Dynamo script. So I'm just going to go here and edit. The reason I want to run this is it will show you how it reads the coordinates. So if I say run, you can see these blue dots appear on the screen. So what this means is on this center point of the pile, even if you go to level 2, you can see it's on the center of the pile. So my X and my Y coordinate is perfect. But in the section, we want that dot to sit on the top of the pile's cutoff level. So how we go and fix that? just click on your pile, say edit family, and then we can go to our elevation. What we want to do is click on this reference plane and make sure defines origin is ticked, so that it defines this as your origin of your Z coordinate. So if I load this into my project, okay, overwrite, obviously nothing happens now, but you'll notice once I run this, this is on my other screen that I'm just going to run it. This is the actual Dynamo script. Let me just show you. It looks something like this. So what I'm going to do is just run it. So once I run it, you can see how it automatically goes to that level there. So then if I go to my structural foundation schedule, you can see all the piles are at different levels because of the pile cutoff levels. So let's go into our 3D view, and we're just going to put it on wireframe, and then you'll see that it's exactly on the pile cutoff level. So now we can go to our schedules, and you can see we have our schedule set up here with all our coordinates, which has worked out perfectly. So if we just scroll down here and we maybe make ourselves, let's just scroll up, sorry, make a sheet, we go new sheet, A1, okay, and let's say we pull in this level 2, something like that, and then we pull in our schedule. Here's our schedule, there it is. We pull it in like that, and then we can maybe just pull that a bit like that, and instead of saying structural foundation schedule, just go double click on it, change that to maybe our piling schedule. So once you go back, let's just do that. Once you go back to your title block, you will see that we have all our piles with our pile numbers, with the X and Y coordinate, with your working loads, your pile diameters and pile cap sizes, and then also given here is your pile cutoff levels. So guys, this is how you work with piles and pile coordinates. I hope this video helped you quite a lot. So please guys, if you like this content, please do give me a like and subscribe. It will help me out a lot. And please let me know if there's anything else you would like me to get into, and I'll gladly do that. So I'll see you in the next one, guys. Cheers.